Hey everyone, today we're going to be working on coloring this Tifa sequential image I've been working on for like the past weekish or so. And I say past weekish because 2 weeks ago I really cut my arm pretty bad, to the point where I needed to go and get stitches at the ER. Okay, we're gonna try it like this, and yeah, and that pretty much put the kibosh on me doing any work for anything at all. So I mentioned it on my gaming channel. I didn't feel like posting that same video here. Yeah, it wasn't fun. I mean, it was, an experience, but it's not anything I'd really want to do again. Because, yeah. I just couldn't work on anything. I couldn't record anything. Because, I play in a game and doing Photoshop. I use my right hand on the keyboard, and my right wrist is what got cut, so I couldn't really use it. Just it was a mess. It was a mess of a couple weeks, and that's the main reason I haven't posted anything here, and why, for anyone that also follows the gaming channel, things were very, very slow. That like 2 weeks. I actually ended up not posting anything for that whole first week, just because I couldn't use my arm at all. Don't really want to live through that experience again. Pretty much want to avoid injury as best I can for the rest of my life. And anyways, what we're doing is I started with this flat color here because I want to try and keep everything as not uniform as possible, but I want to keep everything mostly tied together. So we're starting with that unifying overlay of color, and now we're gonna go in, and I didn't do Tifa's costume super accurately now that I'm looking at it, but we're gonna go in, we're gonna throw in some flat colors and everything, then do the light sources and all that jazz as we go. As a sequential piece, it's generally not going to have excuse me, it's generally not going to have the same amount of finish that just doing a single image of a character is going to have, or even just a single piece of art. Sequential artwork is a marathon, and it can get really, really it can get really, really boring to do sometimes, and a lot of times you'll end up not doing things as complete, as thorough as you normally would. And yeah, you generally have to just live with that and move on. Oops. So right now what we're doing is we're just throwing down some basic color flats over our our grayscale images that were done earlier. I figured I'd save everyone the trouble of watching me hobble through that, because it actually was, like, in Photoshop I try to be kind of efficient, and drawing this was just really ugly. It's a really ugly time to watch me do Photoshop, and it's like a lot of this was just Oh, it was kind of a pain to do with a hurt wrist. But it's better now. I've had the stitches out for a couple days. It's healing over nicely. So I should be back in the saddle for videos here and for gaming videos, even though I lost like a week. I'm basically exactly a week behind. Wait, why am I doing the artwork up there? I'm basically a week behind on everything. So all the stuff I wanted to do over the past week, over the past 2 weeks, I'm so behind on everything now. I wanted the Patreon started up last week. Might have to wait till next week, but I may just do it without having the artwork I wanted done. We'll see. Yeah, it's just been kind of a rough time. I did it again. I'm probably gonna do that a lot. I wanted to keep the colors on the sequential on the panels separate. Oh right, she doesn't have red on that one. I wanted to keep the colors on the panels separate. So, oh no, she does. Like her. So I made a goof. Yeah, her right wrist is like just layers of metal instead of no, it's just kind of weird. I think we're gonna leave what I got though. I want to keep the colors, and I did this with the tones as well, with the grayscales. I want things separate, just so it's easy to like scribble and not have it go into the other areas. Yeah, this would be a point where it's very obvious that the details you'll lose a lot of details doing a sequential piece because of, if you look at like her face, there just isn't a lot of work there. I mean, there isn't a lot of work on like the muscle on her legs either, because I know it's gonna be small, and it's like, let's just get it down and then we can, because there's 4 panels that we got to be doing. I actually haven't done a lot of sequential work, and originally when I went to art school, it was with the intention of learning how to draw really well so I could do comics. But that dream was killed. I'm sure anyone that's gone to art school is probably just gonna nod sagely with that line. I mean, I thought about going and actually sitting down and doing it, but I mean, I shouldn't make an excuse. I should just sit down and try to do it one day. I mean, it's basically doing this. It'd be basically doing this for me, but with I'm gonna make the emerald weapon more emeraldy, but with original characters instead of Tifa Lockheart. Also, I was watching Bob Ross videos. Of all things, I was watching Bob Ross videos, and watching him sort of gave me ideas for doing these videos, and it actually got the grayscale done for me much quicker because he had a lot of little tricks, and I mean he was oil painting, and that's way different than Photoshop, at least in terms of what tricks are available to you to speed up your artwork, speed up your production times. But but tools are tools. So I sort of watched him do stuff, and I was like, oh, he can make these full pieces of art in a half hour, and I'm sitting here thinking, there's a lot of just simple things you can do to really really just produce things quickly. Just little things like getting super sloppy like I did just then. No, just little things you can do, like just make backgrounds simple gradients, because you don't need to sit there and just bang on a background just for hours on end. Um, or to very quickly throw a tone down and not worry about um, doing like an elaborate sketch to like figure out your background tones. I mean, yeah, I did this all in grayscale, but I did it with the intention of using the grayscales as my basis for the color. And what we're doing is we're simply just grouping up things and putting the layer mask on the group, so that now it's like I don't have to mask every single layer over and over again, and I can easily turn off all the color if I needed to. Because now we're gonna go in and we're gonna do our usual, like, no, wait, I do want that on a normal layer. We're gonna do it in our just throwing down some lights very quickly and very simply, with our standard yellow as the highlight, and then purple as a shadow. And with her skin tone, I am gonna do some skin tone work just to make it look a little more living. But for now, we're just gonna get some light on everything, just a little bit. And actually, watching his videos made me think, maybe I should try to do a painting like he does. I mean, obviously, I'm a little different style-wise, but I was looking at it, I was like, they're very simple things he does to just get a lot of detail quickly. Specifically textures. He does a ton of textures, which I really should do more in the Photoshop way of doing them. I don't like the blue. I keep saying I really need to stop that. It's a bad habit. You just keep saying over and over and over again while doing this. But oops, I did it. Did that again. And I've thought about doing textures the Photoshop way, where you pull in some sort of like picture of pebbles or something and use that as a basis for textures. I've never been a huge fan on doing that though, so that's just why I've never done it on a video yet. I mean, I've only done like 5 videos, but yeah, I've just never done it on a video because I've never been a super big fan of doing that. And while I'm going along, I'm probably going to do this as well. Just pick up some, Oops, I did that all multiplied. Like an idiot. Just try to smooth some rough things out. Like, technically this should all be going in this direction, but, it's really hard when that's at the edge of the screen page. He also didn't overwork anything, and that's something that I mean I've always enjoyed about artwork, that it's kind of, I wouldn't say it's made for artists, but there is this kind of like artwork where, like a sketch, it's something that artists appreciate more than non-artistic people appreciate, and he managed to have that look in his art while still making it, you know, appealing to, I don't want to say laypersons, but appealing to people who would want it on a calendar. Let's put it like that. Sounds really mean to say it like that, but you know, that's kind of true. And I've kind of been thinking of breaking out some oil paint. I don't know that I'd record videos of it, but yeah, I've thought about it. I mean, I would swear a lot more than he does. Like, he says, like, he always says, like, and we're gonna put in an almighty mountain right here. And I'd be like, and we're just gonna put in an almighty fucking mountain right here. I also don't know if I have the workspace to do the brush cleaning he did. I can imagine that just as a splattery mess. Just like the blunk, blunk. Now technically, I would want the reflected light to be a different color, and right now we're just going to leave it like that. And I may go back in and tweak it. She's got brown eyes. Like, what? Wait, I've never actually looked at her eyes. Yeah, like the eyes, you can definitely see that you kind of got to go quick on some of these things when you're doing sequentials. So the eyes, kind of throwing them down quick just to get them out. Oh, I don't want to say out of the way. That makes me sound lazy, but to get them, you know, eye-like, and then get them shiny, and then we just got a little detail like that. And we just gotta throw them down and then move on. And for hair in this case, we're just gonna very quickly put in, like, you know, that and then that, and that's hair shine done right there. That's just me doing that right here. I didn't pick that up anywhere. I was just like, hair shine, do jagged things, and okay, there, done. Technically, that's supposed to be matte. Like, looks up at reference. God damn it. I just want a little purple in the hair. It's not like I want it to be overpoweringly purple. Because we're going to go right back in with black and put it right on top of that. For hair, in this case, we're going to mostly do it as a black swath coming out of her head. Purple for that shadow, and then it's actually gonna come right over her eye. Maybe a little too heavy. That's something Photoshop has a huge advantage over traditional painting. The undo button. I think I'm just gonna grab a little skin tone and just pop that in there a bit. Grab the highlight, pop the highlight in, and I mean, there's like a lot of jank right in here, but I can live with it because we're doing 4 pieces of artwork technically right now. So the thing about a sequential piece is I could, because my time is infinite when it comes to artwork technically right now, I could really sit here and just noodle away at everything until I get it 120% correct. However, I've always done artwork under some form of deadline. Whether it's self-imposed or someone says, James, we need this done by now, by, you know, a week ago. I've always done stuff in a deadline. And I just realized I wasn't using that in color dodge. Whoops. I'd rather do the initial lay down of the color in color dodge. Again, that's one of those speedy things in Photoshop. You can just get these highlights going very, very quickly. So anyways, yeah, I could technically sit here and just noodle all day long, get everything 100% correct, or at least correct in my eyes. But there's sort of a concept which I've mentioned before, that like in a week or a month I'm just gonna look at this and hate it. And I'm sure that happens with a lot of artists out there, or creatively minded people, not necessarily visual artists, but writers. It probably happens to musicians. It probably happens to, where you just look at something old and you're like, what in the hell was I thinking when I created that? So I tend to not stress over like lots and lots of detail work. I mean, I do want to work on things to get them, looking nice, but at the same time, it's like, well, I could spend, days and days and days just hammering away at a thing I'm gonna hate in a month, or I could try to get it believable and get it looking nice in a couple hours, and God, that sounds really horrible saying that out loud. Whoops. And if I could take that back, I would. What the hell am I talking about? I could edit it out if I remembered. But yeah, it's like I'd much rather bang something out and get it done in its deadline, because that's the other thing that I'm trying to hobble my way through describing here, is the concept that I've always worked under a deadline. So it's also like, for a sequential, you have however many more frames you have to do within that amount of time. So I'm trying to do things, relatively quickly here. And it doesn't have to be perfect. And I kind of just want to get it presentable in that amount of time, because under a deadline, that's what I'd have to do. And that's what I'm trying to get at, is, yeah, there's that concept of, I'd hate the way this look. I would hate to look at this thing in a month. But I'd also have that concept of well, I'd have to get it done quickly anyways, so I might as well work on doing it quickly. I might as well get that skill up, because I think going fast for artwork is more important than doing it right. It sounds really bad to say it like that, again, but if you can do artwork fast, you can always work on correctness later on. Like, you're always going to be improving, so you might as well just get really, really fast at doing more and more improved artwork. The dolphin we're probably going to do a better pass on. Get the brush strokes out of there. Now for the dolphin blow, we're probably going to do some color tweaking that we didn't do. Like, I think even though I'm using the same background color for everything, I think I'm going to want to blue it up a little, maybe put some splashes in. Because we did orange this one up, and this one we're probably going to have to go look at the Emerald Weapon fight to get its background color. But I do want to try and make sure the sort of muted orange is our background color for the most part. And we're going in, we're throwing in our reds to make her skin sort of more lively. I mostly do that in the shadowish area of her skin. Put a little on her leg right there. And we can grab the skin tone and just pop the skin tone over it again. And I hope I don't really discourage anyone by saying, with what I said, because I don't mean to say you shouldn't spend time on your on detail work and getting things, looking right and feeling right, but for me, it's always been about just try to do it as quickly as you can, and I guess as efficiently as you can. I'm sure it's led to some problems, but I'm sure it's opened up plenty of solutions as well. Her nose is really... You know, the only problem with working at something Dutch like that in this particular version of Photoshop, like I think I'd have to flatten out my, like literally flatten out my tablet. So lay my tablet on its side. Yeah, this is kind of a hell of a lot more complicated than a Bob Ross painting too. That's why we're gonna spend an hour on it, I think, in this video, and then see where it is. Yeah, art isn't necessarily a speed run either, but I do want to get, you know, I do want to keep speed up, just as a personal goal. I think we're gonna leave that more punching bag like rather than knuckle like. I did think of putting in some of her various weapons, but ultimately decided against it. And I should note this was entirely brought on by the... Oh, that's... Whoops. I put a strap in here without even looking to see where the strap was on this side. Yeah, this was kind of brought on by the announcement over the summer about the remake. Kind of like, hey, let's draw Tifa at some point soon, and this is the some point soon. Months later. It's kind of what brought on that elf out drawing I haven't finished yet, which I still intend to finish. I promised I'd finish it, and I'm gonna do it, I swear. Pick up the background color. Excuse me. I am also gonna do some of the old like blur tricks, especially on her ponytail. I think that's all gonna be a blur. Likewise, that hand is probably gonna be blurred out as well, just to do some faux camera trickery. Yeah, I do kind of wish I had a more solid reflected color instead of just using the white again. I mean, I could just make one up, but we're on the clock here. I mean, it's self-imposed clock, but we're on the clock here. Yeah, I know I'm going for the black that's on there instead of actually hitting D. I do that sometimes. It's easier to move the pen across the screen than it is to move my hand across the keyboard. Okay, this eye sucks. Man, I hope that's award-winning commentary someday. This eye sucks. Redraws the eye. Quality content, I say. Again, I'm totally not Bob Ross in any way, shape, or form. I'm like, man, look at this little bush right here. Look at this motherfucker. God damn, he sucks. That eye might be a candidate for the liquefy tool. In fact, I'm almost 120 million% certain it's gonna be liquefied at some point today. The dolphin's also going to be very cartoony. I mean, it should be obvious given that it has angry eyes. He's all, I'm an angry dolphin. I'm gonna, what would it be? Bottle nose you in the face? I'm gonna bottle nose you in the face. Again, that's some quality commentary right there, if I do say so myself. When I was when I was drawing this before, when I was doing the grayscale, I was actually watching horror movies, and it got me to thinking that I may do video reviews for horror movies in the nearish future. Well, I mean, in the near future. We know it's in the near future because it would be through the month of October. And I do it just to try it because I don't know if I'm capable of doing movie reviews. So it'd be a fun thing to try and do. You know what? I actually think we might have to save the emerald, I think it's Meteor Drive on the Emerald Weapon one, just because I want to get the background color in. And I do actually want to get. I think I'm gonna put the background color on this a little bit. Oops. Just because I feel it might need it to kind of sort of differentiate it a bit from the. I mean, I don't want to do it too much, but it's already like totally different. So I'd consider playing with the background colors, and that might give me my reflected light I kind of really need. Now this one's gonna be fun because it's a very, very weird light source going on here. So we're just gonna lay this orange all on the back of her. All on the back here. And we're going to put it down through her hair. Although I think the explosion in the game is yellow, maybe? We're going to start with this orange. Because this one is going to be, like, all about the light. Because now we can pick up a yellow. Now we pick up that. We are purposely putting a lot of white on her skin there because her skin would have a slight sheen at least if she's punching people. She'd probably perspire a bit, so she'd have a bit of a sheen going on, and that would kind of like push her skin into like the explosion would be very hot and thus very bright and actually very white on top of that. So we'd want to kind of have it blend in a bit. I think even her hair, I think, will have it blend in a bit with our explosion back here. Yeah, and what makes this interesting is technically our hottest highlight would be right along her back here. So it's basically, and then it'd be pretty hot up here. So we're basically blowing out her skin to get our highlight. I grab our shadow color, and then like we're gonna be a little heavy-handed on our shadows. Because with the light source that bright, she's basically one giant core shadow. I may have to look up this concept though, or shine a light on myself really, really bright. But yeah, we're purposely doing it like this. Make it very dynamic for our closing, the closing piece of our sequential here. Obviously, we're gonna do quite a bit of back and forth because I still want to get, you know, detail out of this as well. The whole thing is the light wouldn't like wrap around her because it would just shine on through, but light bounces around everywhere, so you would end up, you'd still end up with some plus there's, you know, there's light coming. I'm trying to gesture at pointing at the screen, but there would be light like coming this way still. It's just, it would be hugely overpowered by, you know, this thermonuclear blast that she set off with punching something in the something. We're gonna do our standard red into her skin, but we are probably just gonna have it painted over. Because this is also going to be something that's very much like the color of our explosion we've put in is going to seriously overpower any local color that she has. That includes skin tone. We're really going to make it like she's set off a bomb. I definitely want to flatten this out though, just a little bit, so she doesn't look like she has a giant wrinkles around her face. Okay, we're gonna come in here. We're actually gonna heat up her eyes just a little bit so we can get in there and put some detail in. Yeah, we're gonna just treat this as one big core shadow. And by this, I mean her face. I mean all of her is gonna be just lots and lots of dark. Because she's created a sun, literally, behind her. So just logic would dictate. Like she's got that heat that comes with a shadow on her face still, but we are just gonna drop it way back. I'm gonna use black on her gloves though, because I mean it's black. I'll probably work a little more purple in there. So what we've got what we got going on here is I have her hair is basically casting a shadow this way. So, I mean, yeah, this is still going to all be, like I said, basically treated like a giant core shadow. Some purple in there. Grab the purple. I don't know that the light would actually wrap around her. Move tool. Wrap around her enough to give her a highlight right there, but we're gonna do it anyways, because you know what? This is our piece of artwork. Looking pretty good. Give our shadow colors back, and we'll just put shadow colors in through here. We will grab the highlight just to outline a little bit right here, and then the strap will give a burst of light. Now the front, we're actually going to make that really dark. It's technically, that's the shadow side of the glove. Her skirt, we're just going to do a flat black, I think. Maybe pop some purple in there just to give it a little purpliness. For some indication of abdominal muscle. And again, her leg is just a big core shadow. The way we have the lighting working, this one will be as well. So we've blown that last panel way out, and it looks pretty good. Tap some purple back in here. That's where our explosion is not really getting to. And then we can grab a really bright orange. Tap really bright orange in there. But I think I'm going to want to keep as much like white right behind her as possible. And here's where we can do like one of our first real like, we can do layer for this. We'll make our brush really blurry, which is a no-no generally. And we're actually just gonna go over like the top of her on this side and just sort of, that doesn't look as good. Grab our yellow, and we're actually gonna just very lightly go in and sort of muss this up a little bit. Put it in color dodge as well to get it a little more mussy. Well, a little less just opaque. It'll make it a little less opaque. And we're actually gonna because as the light is basically getting pushed into these areas, it would kind of like blur out a lens a bit. It wouldn't flare it, but you definitely get a little bit of that action going on. And this is actually one of the photo. Oh, the line doesn't go all the way down there. One of the Photoshop things you can do is just that's the equivalent of sort of the magic white background. It wouldn't be on the glove like that. Whoops. So that's that panel. That's my favorite panel now. Jeez. So thanks for watching, everyone. We will be back tomorrow, maybe tomorrow, to do another one of these images and work on the Tifa image a bit. Hopefully we'll get things more that finished. She has a big head in that shot too. Well, anyways, yeah, we can liquefy that a little bit. But yeah, we'll be back tomorrow for doing more of the Tifa Lockheart Sequential video. So thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time.